Jolly good. Hello everybody, my name is Good Boy and welcome to a video on why you shouldn't try to recalibrate anytime soon. Before we begin the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber, and of course hit that glorious notification bell. I love it when you do that and I appreciate it. Also, please look in the description below. There is also an Arcana giveaway. Please check that out and look for the draw. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so, I know this sounds counterintuitive, and while I've given some advice, or should I say Primate has given us some great advice on how to recalibrate well, here is my advice, and this will last probably for at least, maybe even the next month or so. Don't try and recalibrate yet. Certainly not if you don't plan on cheating and using boosting to do it. If you're using boosting, I probably wouldn't even recommend you use a booster right now, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So first off, let's talk about the addiction that the Dota 2 community has to MMR. MMR, as many pro players have said, is just a number, but the reality is we all continually compare ourselves over that number. Everyone's obsessed with it. Oh, your MMR's this, therefore I'm better than you. Oh no, my MMR's better than yours, I'm better than you. And it's like watching two children squabble over sand. Who's got the biggest sand castle? You know, it's just like, you're idiots. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Or does it? So, MMR is an obsession, and here's the problem with the new ranked season, much like the previous ranked season. So the previous ranked season was even more broken than this one. But in the previous ranked season, you could gain as much as 1,000 MMR. So people were recalibrating from like 5k or whatever it was to immortal ranks. You know, it was absurd. It was completely absurd. And then equally, you had other people losing all 10 games and then losing like 1,000 MMR or whatever it was. It was absolutely crushing. Now, Valve did step in and went, oh, whoops, we took this too far, and then adjusted it. But now, the same thing has happened again, where I think if you win all 10 matches, then you can gain as much as 500 MMR, and if you lose all 10 matches, I think you can lose as much as 500 MMR, possibly even more, possibly even higher. So there is, you know, totally that sort of thing. And the thing is, 500 MMR is that's an entire skill bracket, okay? So if you're, 2.5, you're now 3k. You're 3k, you're 3.5. You're 3.5, you're 4. You know, this is no small amount of MMR. And in terms of time taken to gain potentially up to 500 MMR, that's a huge amount of games that you have got to consistently win and grind out. And assuming a 55% win rate, which is a really good win rate, that takes, hundreds of hours to obtain 500 MMR. That is no small feat to achieve. So naturally, of course, people really, really want to recalibrate nice and well. And that is where the problems start to kick in. So my first criticism, I suppose, of the new ranked season was when it was released. And that was released simultaneously with a brand new patch. And not like an F patch or an E patch or whatever, like patch 7.20D. This hero now has 1 less attack than it did before. This hero's movement speed's been reduced by 1. Stupid, petty changes which mean nothing really in the grand scheme of things. What they've done instead is they've timed it with a major set of changes. So what that means is a lot of the heroes that you're used to playing, you like playing, that are good fun to play, and that generally have high win rates, so for example Beastmaster, are now, I don't want to say unplayable, but nowhere near as good as they were before. So Beastmaster was at one point boasting a 57% win rate in the general pub scene. Now he's down to 52. Alright, that's a major fall from grace, and just nowhere near as good as what he was before. So suddenly, the kind of stuff that you were pulling before, you couldn't pull anymore because they've messed with the hero, and your entire game plan and strategy for a hero that you'd normally win with has been ruined. And that straight away throws in massive levels of instability. The most important thing actually to take into account is that because the game has changed fundamentally, like it's 7.21. Okay, whenever they introduce a new major digit like that, you can expect a lot of changes. Now, it's not 7.20 where they reworked half the heroes, but at the same time, it's pretty major. They nerfed and buffed a lot of different heroes, all of them which having impact. And all the popular ones that everyone's playing that usually do well are the ones that usually get, completely kicked in, and vice versa. So that's kind of where it's happened. So what's happened is, not only has the hero that you're probably going to win lots with changed, your game strategy has to change with that hero, but also the meta has changed. the heroes that you expect to see has changed. In fact, pretty much everything has changed. And the thing is, people say, oh yeah, small changes make a big difference. Yeah, well, small changes to everything and every hero in the game, which is pretty much what happened, makes a giant difference. Suddenly you're drafting like, oh, I don't even care they picked that hero. Oh my gosh, why did I not care they picked that hero? It's destroying us all. So the meta of the game has completely changed, which means, so it's like playing a new version of Dota. That's what happens in these patches. And so therefore, any kind of familiarity game strategy that you were kind of using before may now be completely obsolete. So you need to familiarize yourself not only with the new meta and how these heroes, now work. You've got to also familiarize yourself with game strategy, drafting, the whole lot. Who to ban. The kind of heroes you were banning before are not the heroes you need to be banning now. Blah, 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 blah. So the meta has shifted drastically, and we're all unfamiliar with it. And no one would try and calibrate with Ursa before. Now, I'd probably recommend you should. Or Visage mid if you can pull that off, which still remains a ridiculously strong hero. So that's kind of the lay of the land, as it were, in terms of it's a whole new landscape and you need to familiarize yourself with it. And so right now, for example, I'm mainly just playing unranked. In fact, almost entirely just playing unranked, so that I'm more familiar with the meta. So that's point number one. The second pretty major point is also boosters. Now, there will be another video on this, which I'll get into. I'll give a lot more insight and depth on boosting. But, right now, pretty much in every game or every other game, you see boosters. And if you don't see a booster on your own team, you'll see a booster on the enemy team. And sometimes you have boosters on both sides, in which case, haha, game on. But currently, the entire scene is riddled with boosters because 500 MMR is worth paying for. And so because lots and lots of people are using boosters and then they're fighting over who should go mid and who should have safe lane, blah, 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 basically all the games are completely skewed. And ranked matchmaking right now is completely cancer. All right, so it's a never-ending cycle of really frustrating plays. Like, oh, invoker mid. It's like, whoa, the skill level of this invoker is exceptional, and you stand no chance. And if you're going mid in a normal game without any boosters, which will happen regularly, and you're trying to calibrate, and then suddenly you get this 7k or 6k MMR player playing, well, any hero, frankly, you're going to feed about 5 or 6 times, get flamed by your team, lose your game, and then also get reported. All because you happen to be unlucky enough to encounter a booster. So, right now, while the vast majority of Dota community is recalibrating and also paying for the privilege, you need to make sure that you're not in that complete chaos. Let all the boosters run their course. Let the cancer kill itself. And then, once the vast majority or most of Dota players have now finally recalibrated and the number of boosters drops drastically, and the chances are you'll actually play against people who are with inflated MMRs, so they don't actually play as well as they should be, then you have a golden opportunity to actually win lots of your matches. Because you're like, cool, well, I'm playing against people that actually shouldn't be in this skill bracket, so on average they're going to play worse than they were before because actually they're 500 MMR over what they should be. And so actually, the whole inflated ranks and MMRs, all that simply means is that when you try and recalibrate, you then finally play against the real players that aren't as good as these 7k or 6k pro players. Suddenly you then have an advantage because you're actually better than them. And therefore, you have a better chance of winning. So there is that. Finally, and perhaps the most important thing though, is practice. That is literally the most important thing that you've got to get right. So not only should you be familiarizing yourself with the meta, as I mentioned before, but you really need to get that practice in to make sure that you've honed your skills with a hero and that you really feel like, yes, I'm proficient with this. When you're ready, when you've let all the boosters run their course, when you've familiarized yourself, the most important thing is that your particular skill with the 4 heroes I've mentioned is at the maximum it can be. You've checked all your guides, you've done all your videos, and you're ready to go. And like I say, with all the excitement and everyone going crazy for it, one of the best things that you can do is relax, take your time, build up your skill with a few core heroes, and then do it. Don't just rush in. Take your time. Patience is a virtue. And if you can do all that, then in probably March is what I'd recommend, or late February, then you are ready to go for recalibration. You know, wait for that letter patch update, and about a week after that, start going for it. Don't rush in or do it before. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for more great videos coming soon. And of course, as always, hit the like, subscribe, share button, notification bell, and check in the description below for the Arcana giveaway. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.